Hard work is BS, that's a fact. It will never ever pay off. That's a lie sold to you by boomers and corporate shills to brainwash you into accepting their dogshit low wages. In fact, it's so BS I can easily prove it to you right now. Consider the fact that just about every job for young people pays you an hourly wage, 7, 10, 15 an hour or whatever. The fact that they pay you based on time and not actual productivity already by definition proves that hard work is BS. No matter how hard you work in that hour, you're still only going to get $7 an hour. If you work in a McDonald's, it doesn't matter if you flip 1 burger or 100 burgers in that hour, you're still getting the same low dogshit wage. If hard work actually did pay off, as these delusional boomers try to brainwash you into believing, you'd actually be paid based on how many burgers you flip, not how many hours you work. And this is why Gen Z is so smart. This is what quiet quitting is all about. Since they've realized that they're only getting $7 in that hour no matter how many burgers they flip, you might as well just do the bare minimum, since there's literally no reward for doing anything more. You know how our parents and grandparents would sit down and tell us these campfire stories about how things were back in their day? As a millennial, I've been around long enough where I can tell you Zoomers out there a quick campfire story about how gigafucked the economy has been since 2008. When I graduated high school, my first summer job was as a waiter. Except, it wasn't even actually a job, you see. This freaking restaurant didn't even want to pay the minimum wage. It was an internship where I registered with some youth employment service, and they agreed to pay me because the restaurant wouldn't. These corrupt capitalist businesses literally don't even want to pay the minimum wage. Like, we sit here and debate the minimum wage all the time. Do you realize that most companies actually want the minimum wage gone? How bad is it that they are already paying you dog shit, and they're desperately fighting tooth and nail to be able to pay you even less than dog shit? But here's what was even more frustrating about it all. Today, thanks to Gen Z speaking out about these issues, a lot of the viewpoints I had some 10, 15 years ago have been validated. This is why I'm so grateful for Gen Z. But back in 2008, I was only dealing with boomers and other millennials. I'm not kidding when I tell you that I was literally the only one who woke up and realized that all this was bullshit. My boomer parents and other boomers literally tried to convince me that I was spoiled and entitled for not wanting to accept less than dogshit wages. And as I've said in many other videos, millennials for the most part are a bunch of blue-pilled simps who believed and went along with everything our boomer parents told us. This is why so many of us just went to college and racked up a ton of student loan debt that we'll never ever pay back. This is why I actually respect Gen Z guys who are just staying home playing video games. Sure, it might not be the most productive thing, but at least you're not intentionally sabotaging yourself and putting yourself 6 figures in debt. Doing nothing is better than purposely punching yourself in the face, which is what most millennials did. And what was more hilarious was that they looked at me like I was crazy when I told them I was just going to travel the world and volunteer instead of racking up a shitload of student loan debt. It's one thing if you want to punch yourself in the face, but it's next level delusion to think someone else is crazy for not punching himself in the face. I know I've been quite hard on my own generation in this video and throughout all my videos. Make no mistake, millennials were not at fault for the 2008 crash and all the problems that came after that. We were absolutely dealt a shit hand as well. But we also did absolutely nothing to solve any of the problems. I can't help but think if more of us had Gen Z's mindset, we might already be on the way to making serious progress right now. If we had rebelled against capitalism, refused to work for dog shit wages, clapped back at the boomers the way Gen Z are doing, we might already be 15 years into influencing real change at this point. Instead, we just wasted these 15 years being mindless sheep believing all the blue-pilled lies society and our boomer parents sold us. Work hard no matter how dog shit the wages are. Go to college no matter how ridiculous the student loan debt is. Believe the mainstream narrative no matter how obvious it is that it's not working anymore. And now, even though we didn't cause these problems, we had a real chance to fix them, but instead, we just quietly coped our way into believing the delusions of our boomer parents and passed these problems onto the next generation. But hey, if there's any generation that gives me a slight bit of hopium, it's Gen Z. They say that once you can clearly write down a problem, the matter is already half resolved. Gen Z has done a great job at that. I mean, the mainstream media likes to label you guys as being pessimistic, depressed, etc. But the world is objectively shit right now. Look at how screwed the economy is, how expensive everything is. If you look around you and you're not pessimistic and depressed, you're just delusionally living in an alternate reality. The way I see it, you guys are more realistic and objective than anything else. It's just that they've created such a shit world and shit economy that if you acknowledge reality, it appears as if you're being pessimistic and doomer. And as far as all these labels of Gen Z being lazy and entitled goes, look, being lazy and entitled goes both ways. I say fuck that. You're not lazy for not wanting to work. The boomers are lazy for not fixing the economy that they ruined for younger generations. You're not lazy for quiet quitting. Companies are lazy for not paying you a fair wage and actually giving you incentive to work. They think Gen Z is toxic in the workplace? Good. They're the ones who created such a toxic workplace environment, and they deserve to get a taste of their own medicine. You're not entitled for wanting more than $7 an hour. Companies are entitled for thinking they should have the right to keep paying $7 an hour in a world where inflation has clearly soared way beyond that. If you don't make enough money to pay your rent, you get evicted at the end of the month. And in the same exact way, if companies can't afford to pay you enough for a living wage, they deserve to fail and go out of business. Laziness and entitlement is a two-way street, and it's time we start seeing it that way.